Hey fellas, Onus here, and welcome back to With a Y, and today we have the return of the most disgusting furry I've ever seen, Achilles Argyle. If you need a refresher, this is a guy who several years ago made like a video with a goat rant sona, that he basically had his whole bit be that he would stick his feet on the desk in front of him, and then he added stink lines to it. The first video he ever made, one of two, was why we need racism, and I entertained this conversation back in the day, aka 4 months ago, that this was like a complete troll, like satire, but I wasn't entirely sure. And I'm here to give my definitive opinion after watching the second video I discussed in there all the way through for like years after the first time. This is absolutely a bit. And I'm gonna be honest, like my respect for him has weirdly gone up a bit because the level of argument he's making is so ridiculous that I feel like it should have been more obvious to me at the time, and it would have been more obvious if I had watched his second video, why I watch VTubers and why you should too. That's what we're here to do today, and I want to tell you this. There is a lot less stinky feet in this video, and I think that matters. This guy lets the satire kind of ride on the writing, and there's like a lot of discussion to be had here, that most of which we won't be having. And before we get into discussion about VTubers, I want to clarify, I very much enjoy VTubers. I have friends who are VTubers, like that sounds like such a cop-out, but I am myself a VTuber in some ways, and I like really respect the format and like what people have been able to do with it. You gotta respect what they've been able to do and like the actual genuine fan bases and connections that people have built off of it. Let's just jump into this shit. This bitch is longer than the why we need racism video. It's 12 minutes.
So, in response to my first video receiving all the attention that it did, I would like to thank each and every one of my subscribers for supporting me thus far. As a small YouTuber who's just starting out, all of this is incredibly supportive. And
it is really funny he phrases it like that, because I remember even like when the why we need racism video came out, it was like immediately controversial. Even with like all its gimmicks, like those gimmicks were taken as things to make fun of him with, much of which I used. I'm not above this sort of thing, and I especially wasn't at the time. But like the way he writes about it in hindsight, like after it's already happened, at least the initial brunt, it's funny.
I've already scripted out several topics that I will be making videos about in the near future, including a video questioning modern society's views on bestiality.
Like that's the sort of thing where like when you hear it, like it makes me want to bust a gut internally, but he just gives you the game immediately, like, listen man, if it wasn't obvious enough before, let me throw it at you now. I put the fucking stinky feet on the desk, I made my rant sona a furry, now we're going to talk about why we need to reconsider bestiality. Okay, man.
So make sure to stay tuned.
For clarity, there was nothing to stay tuned for. This guy disappeared after this video was made. He deleted his channel. He just kind of like wiped this particular aspect of whatever his persona is off the internet. And I'm very curious if he exists in other places, because like now that I'm like firmly in the camp that this was satire, making fun of the topics that it covered, maybe not like in their entirety, but in this one, like I don't think like the knowledge he has about VTubers is entirely inorganic. He's just making fun of the more ridiculous elements of it. I'm curious, not necessarily a fan of what his other output is. I just think I need to see it if he has it.
For the uninitiated.
And there are the feet on the table. Somebody made this comment on the last video. It is very funny that like he makes them the direct center of the thirds, like in the video itself, for like the majority of it.
Allow me to explain what a VTuber is. A VTuber is essentially a YouTuber with a persona. Think of me, Achilles Argyle. I am talking to you behind a persona. I am acting out a predetermined character that I've created, because of course, I'm not a goat in real life.
That's not true for a guy like me. I'm actually just a gigantic robot who kills people. Like, I look like my profile picture IRL. And if you were ever doubting that that was actually what I am in real life, you're like insane and crazy and you should feel stupid.
Though sometimes I do wish that I was.
The fucking longing gaze he like makes the rant soda do off to the left as he says, sometimes I wish I was a goat. Again, like he's just lathering it on in a way that like the racism video absolutely was doing some of, but it's just cranked to 11 here. I feel like he just decided to take the dial to the max and like make it as obvious as possible. I guess there's like the kind of conspiratorial argument where it's like, oh, he saw the poor response to the first one and decided that, what if I just try to pass it off as an ironic bit? I don't think that's the case, man. He was doing the stinky feet front and center the first showing he had. It's up to you if you think it's effective satire or it still like has its issues. Like I'm not here to tell you how to feel about that, but
I'm not gonna sidestep it. I love VTubers.
There's the first instance of toe quotations he makes, man. I fucking can't with this guy.
I watch them after coming home from a hard day's work, and it's a blast to save every clip I can find of some of my favorites. And I'm not one to shy away from donating larger sums of money. I hope by the end of this video, you'll share some of the same sentiments as me, so long as you just hear me out.
I mean, I'm going to. Like, I've committed to commentating on this particular video, man. Like, you already got me locked.
Think of it like reality TV, where the narratives that have been created for our viewing pleasure don't necessarily reflect the personalities of the people involved.
So far into this argument, I can't disagree. Like, yeah, the version of me you see on your computer or phone screen or TV increasingly is not like the way I act all the time, but it is like a trumped up version of it. And I think like with streaming, it's a lot harder to fake it. Like the way you act on stream, if you stream 8 hours a day, there's a higher chance that's going to be how you are in most social interactions. Maybe just with like a temper of having to actually talk to someone. A factor that doesn't exist, like when you're streaming, you're talking to text on your screen.
It's like that only the actors actually get to decide their narrative this time around, indicating that VTubers are superior to the lower forms of entertainment most normies choose to watch in the West.
Dude, he's got fucking everything here. He's checking off the list like he was last time, just with, I guess, a less contentious topic, or it's like lower form of media, VTubers are the best. People in the West watch lesser forms of entertainment, and like any number of other things, man. This guy is like just A-tier rage baiting. It's hard to argue with that. Genuine or not, which I'm being honest, I don't think he's genuine. Like he might genuinely love VTubers in his free time, but I think he's given us the old runaround.
When we think of who actually engages in a parasocial relationship, we typically think of this: a lonely lowlife, one with terrible posture, sitting in front of a Twitch stream as his screen blares white light into the darkness of his room. Not everyone on the giving end of a parasocial relationship is a no-life NEET, who hasn't seen the light of day ever since Amelia denied him his pretty little bunny waifu feet pics.
Fucking deep breaths, dude. That's what it takes. Deep breaths is what it takes.
These relationships can be healthy because they remove the inevitability of rejection. We're free to give our love to these VTubers unabated, and for us lonely folk, this is an outlet. Where's all that love going to go if it's not being used? Nowhere good.
I mean, it could go into yourself if I had to take a guess. But again, like I'm arguing with like a shadow of a person. This is not like a person expressing real beliefs they have. This is a guy who is ostensibly shitposting.
That much I can tell you. But not all of the work's on our end. No, VTubers themselves channel hours into their craft. Being a public figure is hard, I would know.
Like he's like hitting the exact like parody I would like want to see of like someone who unironically has a rant sona and then like makes a video on like why racism is good and how they typically respond to criticism.
Among us content creators, people with personas have to be the most oppressed. Most VTubers won't ever find any mainstream appeal.
Among us content creators have to be the most oppressed. Do you believe me when I say like he's either dialed this up to 11 like from his original intention? Like it is fucking hilarious.
As VTubers have a love for their craft and a love for their audience. I mean, seriously, VTubers pay upward of $300 just to get their models rigged. Even more for a decent Twitch layout.
Okay, this might have been intended as parody, but like he has some actual knowledge of like what it takes to get like a VTuber rig going. There are smaller VTubers who like commit large amounts of their financial like liquid assets into just being able to continue VTubing. And what he's saying, $300, that's on the lower end, man. And that's for the VTuber itself. So like I respect a little bit of that. We're still talking about the why we need racism guy, but the why we need racism guy was a made up guy created by a different guy who probably doesn't have the opinions of the why we need racism guy. And having this like even close to ball knowledge about like what it takes to get the startup cost of like creating a VTuber persona started, that's what makes me think he actually interacts with this like on his own time.
Being a VTuber is not something anyone can just pick up and do. The least I and everyone else can do is donate a little bit of our disposable income to lighten the load for them. I know I personally have donated well over $1,000 in total.
I have donated well over $1,000 in total. Like, outs himself as a whale, which, if I wasn't trying to take this, like, elevated fucking perspective on this, I could say, like, you give $1,000 to VTubers? Would also be hypocritical on my bit. But also, like, you're so fucking lame. Like, when you look a little beyond that, it's pretty obvious that that is the joke, that he would say that out loud. It's about now that you're gonna see the stink line start becoming relevant. Like, you can see that the screen was greener than it was a few minutes ago. And it's not just because, like, the green, the Benjamins is what he's showing on screen. It's, literally greener than the hues of money ever looks.
My money and time. I regret to sour all of this positivity with some reality, but nevertheless, I need to talk about the elephant in the room.
I hate to say it, just look at those feet, man. They are filtered. There is something over them.
E-girls. Sadly, I used to be among those who followed the likes of Pokimane, and looking back, it was frankly a dark time in my life. But now I can vouch for the Holy Church of Sister Abigail Dovely.
Dude, that's the first toes stink quote he's done this entire video, man. I was like waiting for that. I was about damn ready to pop out my chair and like cheer like I just saw fucking Cat pick up Thor's hammer. Fucking Christ. I'm invested in this universe.
E-girls are not the same as VTubers. Not at all. All of that work and effort VTubers put in, e-girls do none of.
Damn, he feels personally affected by that shit. They don't do any of the work that VTubers do. They just kind of sit there, according to him. Those are huge circle glasses, by the way. No hate, like I wish I had a pair, but I wouldn't need them because I'm a robot.
A VTuber has to sit down and craft their next big event. An e-girl flashes some 3D skin and gets double, triple, or even quadruple the amount.
Him calling it 3D skin is a pretty obvious parody of like, there was this era on Twitter where like people said they preferred 2D women to 3D women. It's like, I can't get my heart broken if it's not real. Which technically true, but I think you should just commit yourself to the volcel voluntary celibate lifestyle. AKA just become a Catholic like this guy.
My money goes to those who'd worked hard and deserve it. I cannot fathom how simps can donate thousands to e-girls like Pokimane who do a fraction of the work.
Like he sighs, he's opening his mouth, and then his toes also like open, they widen. The way he's using the character stills he's already commissioned and we saw in the last video is different than how they were used before, man. He's learning how to puppeteer the different still frames he's commissioned.
Pokimane is a tangible person. She is 3-dimensional. My VTubers are 2-dimensional. It's not hard to picture Pokimane as your girlfriend or sister.
Throwing in the sister there was wholly unnecessary, like...
Being rejected by a fictional character just isn't something that can happen. Take my word for it.
Take your word for it? You can get rejected by a fictional character? How the hell did you make that happen, dude? Did you, like, reality shift?
So, you're probably wondering, how can I start watching VTubers?
Are you wondering?
Should I watch? As a VTuber veteran, I can give you some pointers for the VTubers I personally watch on a daily basis.
You know, I think that's a good place to cut it because we're like 7.5 minutes in and then he starts talking about individual VTubers and I feel like I'm too out of energy to like accurately talk about the individuals he's talking about without like crossing too many toes. Pun intended. We're gonna cut it here. Let me know if you guys want me to complete the trilogy even though there's only like 5.5 minutes left of existent video. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at with a Y. That email's in the description if you guys want to send me any video topics. Anyways, piss off.